Alright boys, so Global has been out for a few weeks now, 2-ish weeks, and people are starting to get their units up, you're starting to get into the game, people are starting to understand how to farm stuff and everything, and I thought now would be the perfect time to make a top 5 SR list, especially since most people have done their fair share of multis, so most of you will have most of these SRs since Global doesn't have too many yet. But before we get into the top 5, look at how many of you are not subscribed. If you're one of those people, you better subscribe right now and also like the video as an apology, okay? Anyways, let's get into the top 5. How it's gonna work is gonna go from the worst of the top 5 to the best of the top 5. And I'm letting you know right now, half of the SRs, right? I'm gonna do some honorable mentions as well, but half of the SRs in this game are better than like so many SSRs. Like, the ones I will talk about are better than a lot of the SRs you can pull in the game right now. Also, like, same with the rares. If you want me to do a top 5 rare or SSR video, let me know as well, because there's some really good rares, and obviously there's some really good SSRs, but you know that already. So, it's gonna be a top 5, and the first one we're gonna start with is Slater. Red Slater. I think he's number 5. Some people may put him like a little higher. Some people might put him like 6 or something. But genuinely speaking, most people agree that Slater is in fact the GOAT. So what does Slater do, you might think? You can see it here, but because there's a lot of text and numbers, what he does, his first skill is an attack skill, and it does 180, 270, and 400% damage. And it also lifesteals a good share, a fair amount of damage. It's 20% of the rank 1, 30% of the rank 2, and 40% of the rank 3, as you can see on the screen. I probably didn't have to read this out, but who cares? Also, his second skill is, this is where he becomes this amazing SR that is better than a lot of SSRs as well, is decreases attack related stats of one enemy by 20%. Now this is already really good, and disables everything but attack skills for 2 turns. So, what this means is, if your whole hand has these cards, these damage type cards, I don't know if they link it if you click it. No, okay. If you have any cards with the sword icon, you can only use those, right? No blue cards, no green cards, no debuff cards, no stances, nothing. Only attack cards. And your attack related stats are lowered, and it's not just attack, it's penetration, crit chance, crit damage, and pierce rate. Yeah, it's really good. And the higher the skill goes, the bigger the decrease is, and on rank 3 he does it for 3 whole turns. Now, if this was for 1 turn, which is a different unit does this for 1 turn, that'd be bad. Blue Merlin on JP, for example, does this, and she's bad, because she only does it for 1 turn. She does damage, but it's only 1 turn, so it's like, don't really get much out of this. But he does it for 2 turns, which 2 turns is a lot, okay? In addition to that, his base stats are actually really good for a SR. So a lot of people on JP do have him like max level, max stars and everything, and they max out his ultimate, which you should as well, to have him as a association link. Because if you didn't know, I can actually just go to my team. If you, what team is this? Alright, if you didn't know, oh, I hit 110k, nice. So, the higher the ult level, the more stats they give. So this Jericho gives him these many stats, whereas this Diane gives him only that 169 attack and 2000 HP. She gives him 362 attack and 3800 HP. So, the higher the ult level, the more stats they give you, and to be precise, it's 1% per ult level if you didn't know this. This is why SRs are really good if they're linked. And Gotha is a link. Slater is a link to Gotha, who will come out later. And actually, since this site doesn't have it, I can just go on this one real quick. Where's Slater? There we go. He's a link to, well, Hugo. Actually, Hugo's really good, but that's for my top 5 rare video if you guys want this. And for the Gothers and Arthur. Oh, actually, Arthur's in global. Yeah, you can give him the Slater link. Amazing, really good. Gives great stats. His base stats might not look too crazy, but it's because when the more you level him, like his increase in stats is higher than like other SRs. Like let's say every SR from level 1 to 50 gets 1000 attack, he gets like 1200. Like his progression in his star system, his awakened system, what he gets from stars, since it's different for every unit, okay? So it's like this is attack, and everyone gets attack 600. I think everyone gets attack. I don't know if it's 600. Some make it like 580 or 620. But these two stats are always different. So she gets defense and pierce rate. But someone else, if I can just go here. Oh, actually, it's the same unit. So actually, I think they differ anyway. But yeah, he only gets 500 attack, defense, and more pierce rate, but which works for him. Then okay, they all get this. Okay, see now, I made this, and I'm very sure that there's units that get different stuff, but I'm just gonna ignore that real quick. Anyway, so I guess it's the same, but it's different values. Okay, that's what I meant. Different values. Okay, different values, and his values are pretty good. And just in general, from leveling up, he's pretty good. He also gets to get the costume from the SSR Slater, which will also increase his stats again. Plus, he has a lot of good weapons, some that you can pick up with coins as well. So yeah, really good unit. That's gonna be the number 5. Now, moving on to number 4 is going to be, if I can find him here, Meliodas. Some people might put him higher as well, but I'm putting him here. So, what he does is his passive, first of all, everyone gets him for free, okay? And you should also max his ultimate, but we'll get to that later. And not just because he's a great link. Oh, actually, that tells you here. I'm stupid. So he's a link to a lot of units, which is, you know, it's good to have, especially if you have him 6/6. It's gonna be really good. So his passive is he gets 30% crit chance every turn he doesn't get hit, and it stacks. So that's pretty good. Good for raids. Like for raid demon, he'll always crit with his ult. His normal skill won't do too much damage against him, sadly, since it's a weak point and you're not going to debuff him. But let's go to his skills. First skill, 110, 165, and 275 damage. Pretty decent. Actually, pretty trash. But then you read the effect, and it's weak point, and weak point makes it so you do triple damage to debuff targets. Yep, and that's where his damage comes from. Okay, you think like what's his 180 is good for a level 1, which it is, by the way. Nah, he's got 330 on a level 1. That's really good. Especially with his really good stats, actually, like 310 attack. I think he has 340. Like I told you, like Slater has stupid good stats. The 310 attack for an SR is really good. He also gets to get all the outfits from the green counter Meliodas, so he's also getting stats from that. Really good unit. His second skill, his full counter, is a little more lackluster. It's a counter that scales of attack, which is really good, which is what Estarossa and JP does, and which is why it's good. But and he counts multiple times, not just once. But he only takes a stance for 1 turn, so you can just wait it out. Even on his like rank 3, it's just 1 turn, which he evades on his rank 3, but like no one cares. And the attack, being able to have it scale up attack is really good. So if you're well built, he'll do heal hits for stupid damage. But it's 1 turn, and if you don't hit him, he won't proc it. Okay, Estarossa taunts when he does his counter, which is really good when people have to hit him, so it's really good. Other than that, it's not that he's not like that counter is not that good. It's mostly his attack skill being really good, and now his old sever damage, which means double crit rate, and it's really high damage. Okay, if I go back on this side, which is better by the way, but the other one is more global oriented, so I'll stick to that one. It's around Meliodas, cool. He has a max multiplier of 840. Okay, really good. Let me go back to him. Alright, so yeah, 840 plus double crit chance, and you pretty much get him to 60 for free. Really good. His crit damage was a 160, which is really high actually. Like actually really high. I'm actually surprised. I didn't know his is 160. That's really good. Like if you go random unit, right? Green King, okay. His is 150. He has a higher one. Like he does have spike, okay, but still 150 base crit damage for an SSR, okay. Or if you go to not this Hauser, he has 130 crit damage. So yeah, 160 crit damage is actually really high. I didn't know that. That's crazy. So he's really good. And I'm going to get to my first honorable mention, which is going to be Red Griamore. Where is he? It's by alphabet, right? So Red Griamore, he's better than the SSR Griamore, the green one. First of all, his passive is pretty good. Increases all HP related stats by 50% in PvP. It's pretty good. Lets you live longer. And you can also run him in PvP. He's a pretty good, pretty decent PvP unit. His defense and HP stat are really good for an SR. His attack 1 is pretty average for an SR. But first of all, his first skill is the same as Green Millie Yoda's. If I can pull him up real quick. There you go. 240, 360, 600. He has the same thing. It's a stupid multiplier. I don't know why they'd give that to any unit. So even with his pretty average attack set, he'll still be hitting pretty hard. But the main reason why he's so good is because he has barrier. Now, barrier is something that Green Merlin has, which is an SSR, and it's just a shield. It's just a shield. He puts it up around all allies. Yeah, like it says. 150 attack. It's so good. Watch my 1v1 video against Enigma, which I'll link below. It's a fantastic video, by the way. I use him in there. It's so good. It's just a shield you can use. It's on all allies, and if they debuff you, like let's say King petrifies you, if he doesn't break the shield, he won't petrify you. He has to go through the shield, destroy the shield, and then he can petrify you. So it's really good. Like I said, you can use them in PvP. I wouldn't be surprised if people are already running them in high rank PvP on global, which I'm only like masters in global. I'm all about to be masters, so I don't want to say I'm too high ranked, so I haven't seen him yet. But he is really, really good. You can definitely use him. And his ult, decrease attack related stats by 30%. Really good. It makes them do no damage, especially if you have your shield up and they're debuffed, they will not do damage to you. So yeah, really good unit. Really good link as well. For Deanne and Dreyfus. Oh, and Hauser and Gilthunder, but they have better links. But good link for them. Definitely get him up if you can. If you need if you feel like your team does enough damage, but you need some more defensive options, definitely get him up. Fantastic unit. He also does good damage, and like I said, he's great for PvP. That's why he's an honorable mention. He's not too crazy, but he's really fucking good. All right. Next unit is going to be Green Gilthunder. Now, if you're on Twitter or on YouTube, pretty much anywhere, if you've been playing this game, you pretty much know how good he is. Some people might put him higher. A lot of people, like I've talked to a lot of people, and they want to put him higher. Now, I actually would probably put him higher too, but for right now, it's fine if he's here. You pretty much use him in every raid, okay? On global, you don't use him for Red Demon yet because you don't have strong enough units, and Gotha isn't out. But at some point, you'll run him and then just nuke the Red Demon and get him out the way. His passive, 30% defense-related stats in PvP, amazing. His attack skill is garbage, useless. It's a waste of cards. I'm not even gonna talk about it. But his other thing, so his first use is PvP. You put him in the 4th slot, which I have him in my PvP team. Here, yeah, he's in my 4th slot. He gives 30% defense-related stats. Really good. You take less damage. It's not just defense; it's also resistance. It's crit resistance. It's crit damage resistance. It's really good. It's crit defense. Yeah, it's really good. So that's what you use him from PvP for, and in PvE, he's also amazing because he has the biggest attack buff in the entire game. 60% is fucking stupid, okay? So yeah, 60% attack buff, or 30 or 40, wherever, for 2 turns already on his level 1, okay? A lot of other units nowadays would only have it for 1 turn. He has it for 2 turns, really good. Ignore his stats, don't really care for his stats. His HP stat and attack is actually kind of okay. Element is pretty lackluster, but you don't use him for the stats, you use him for his abilities, and like I said, great for PvP, great for PvE, amazing unit. His attack skill is kind of but his ult's also really good since you're gonna max it out. I'm pretty sure mine's maxed out, so I can just tell you how much damage it does. It does 840, and it's really good. Like, especially you get the attack buff, you get 6/6 for free. He's a great link to a lot of units as well. I use him on my, I use him as a link for anyone on JP pretty much because mine's pretty built. Yeah, so he's really good. Definitely get him up. He's one of the first ones you should get up if you can. Now the next one you've probably also heard a lot about, and I don't think I have to scroll. I think I saw him in the corner of my eye. I did, which is Gustav. Now Gustav is Merlin. Okay, if you didn't pull Merlin, you got Merlin. If you have Gustav, his stats really good. All right, his stats all okay. I'm lying. They're really average, but like for an SR to have these stats are pretty good. Like the last month all also really had good stats. Alright, so his skills are the same as Merlin's: 220 attack, 220 attack, 360 attack, and disable recovery skills. Now, his freeze is the same thing: freeze, of 1 turn for 1 turn for 2 turns. And on the rank 2, increased damage by 80%. On rank 3, increased damage by 200%. His ult is useless, so you don't really care. But it's passive. It's also really good for raids. Decrease all enemies' resistance by the value of the hero's pierce rate. He has 30 pierce rate, really good. It gets higher with the star system as well. I can actually check since I don't have any stars on him. I haven't been using him, but that's because of Merlin. Yeah, so I don't need him. But let's see. Pierce rate plus 6%. Oh, he doesn't get pierce rate from this one. Okay, so 36% base pierce rate. So that's really good. Like lowering the enemy resistance by 36%, really good. Against any raid, against PvP too, but you're not going to use him in PvP. Since his stats aren't SSR tiers, so you don't want to necessarily use them. Like that thing is only used for like really specific stuff, and you have to have him in the team. If you could just run him in the back, then maybe people would run him on pen teams, but nah. You mainly just use him for the freeze and for raids, and he's amazing for that. He's a discount Merlin. In just story as well, he'll be really useful with freezing. For nuking, he's great because of the freeze, and super boss in the future when it comes out, he won't be great, I'm lying. But discount Merlin, and Merlin is a pretty high tier SSR, especially in global right now. So you can use him. You can run a double freeze team if you have both of them on PvP. It's pretty cancer. I did that on JP once. Yeah, like I said, having the same skills as Merlin automatically makes him a great unit. His pass is also really good for raids. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. The next one is going to be another honorable mention, and it's going to be a couple units. It's going to be Red and Blue Jericho, because she buffs red attack types, red types attack by 10% for just being in the 4th slot, and the blue one boosts blue attribute by 10%. And then there's also Kane. Kane makes it so in Julian. Raids you do 10% more damage. In deathmatch, okay, when I say raids, I'm referring to deathmatch, okay? Julian, okay? Julian. And she gives 30% HP to all green types. There's rares that do this for the other types, which I guess I'll mention real quick. Okay, they'll be in my rare top 5 video too. But Marmas and Twigo, 30% to all red types and 30% HP to all blue types. Really good. Just run in the 4th slot. It's pretty good. And my other honorable mention is Weinhardt, Weinheit, whatever the frick you want to call him, and he increases all allies pierce rate by 8% at the end of turn, limit 5 times. Now, especially on global early, where you don't just 2-shot every event, that's really useful. In total, it's 40%. If you did the math, you know, I know 8 times 5 is pretty tough. And before I got it wrong somehow, but yeah. So that's really good. He's also a great farmer. Okay, both his attacks are AOE. And he seals skills, attack skills in one, so especially early game farming, he makes early game farming a lot easier, okay? His base speed is 20%, and his ult triples his pierce rate, which, if you go above 100% pierce rate, you start doing extra damage, which is really good, so he does a lot of damage. You should get his ult up as well. I guess he's a link to Slater, but you won't use him as a link to Slater, unless you only want stats. You're mostly going to use Simon. Anyway, so he's a great unit. He's a great farmer. I've already made a video on him. In my farm guide, I already mentioned him. Great unit to farm. Great unit. Just in general, I run him on JP. He's in my farm team in the back, just chilling, just to give everyone penetration because it's really good. Or pierce rate. All right. So now, what is the best? Who is the best SR? The best SR is this Elizabeth. I guess you know what. Honorable mention. This Elizabeth. Great for raids. She increases her stats. Well, great for Red Demon. She increases her base stats by 10% every turn if she didn't get hit. And on Red Demon, you just stun him every turn. So she just keeps stacking. Like, she's technically the highest thing unit. If you sit in a free stage for like 10 hours and just keep stalling and she doesn't get hit, like you just keep freezing or like they don't do damage to you, then you'll hit for like 5 million, 10 million, 100 million. I think there is a cap. I think someone did it for like 13 hours and it capped out. But for the most part, there's no cap. So if you want to just pop off, then hey. Right. Now the best one. Already took it away, but it's Elizabeth. Amazing unit. First, her attack skill is pretty okay. It's nothing special. It does decent base damage. She has a pretty good base attack value. Pretty average defense and pretty average HP for an SR. But you get it for free, first of all, from Story Chapter 6. You can also summon her. You should max out her ultimate because she is a link to Meliodas. And you will use Meliodas, like Meliodas Sis, a lot in the future. So trust me, you'll need her. And her second skill is heals all LH HP by 200, 200, and 300%. And on rank 2 and 3, she increases the ult gauge. Now, there's a demon on the JP side, which is called the Crimson Demon. He's green type, so you use her. And on Hell difficulty, that Global also doesn't have yet, you basically pretty much have to use her. So you can just start nuking. She's also just great in general. A lot of teams, you can kind of run ult rush with her, not really, but okay. The main thing that makes her broken, okay, is her freaking passive, okay. Close call, all allies are healed by 10% of max HP at the start of the next turn when taking damage. So anyone gets hit in your team, they get healed for 10% at the end of, at the start of the next turn. Really good. In 99% of my teams on JP, I run her in the back for so much content, for super boss, for raids, actually not for raids because you can chow raids, but for super boss. I had her in PvP for a while as well. For just in general difficult stuff. That 10% heal goes a long way, okay? It's a really good heal. If you've used her, you know. And her hold, I guess, is pretty good too. But yeah, it's mostly her passive that makes her the best SR in the game. Even on JP, probably. Yeah. She's just really good, okay? That passive is so good, and you can use her on like 99% of all your teams. Really flexible units. Being Elizabeth as well, being a great link to Meliodas is also something that makes her better. But it's mostly the passive that makes her this good. So yeah, this is why she's the number 1 SR. If you want to see a top 5 SSRs and rares, let me know. I'll do that too. In the next coming days, I'll have a few. I should have a few top 5 XX unit from XX typing. Okay, so like top 5 units from blue type, red type, green type, and then I might split them up into DPS, support, blah blah blah. Not sure yet. Anyways, those should be coming. But yeah, those are the top 5 SRs, plus honorable mentions. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments or follow me on Twitter at SoraSSB. Thanks.